Do you think bombs only exist on the battlefield? But right here in the United States, there are places where forgotten explosive materials may still be buried underground decades later. They do not glow, they do not make a sound, and sometimes, the most dangerous thing is right beneath your feet. A worker may step onto a piece of land that looks completely ordinary. But every step they take has to be calculated carefully, because one small mistake could turn silent ground into a disaster. This is not a scene from an action movie. This is a real job in America. Their job is to search for unexploded bombs that most of us will never see. And today, we are stepping into the dangerous world of the people who deal with leftover unexploded ordnance. So what do workers who deal with leftover unexploded ordnance actually do? They are often called UXO technicians, short for unexploded ordnance. In simple terms, these are the people who specialize in searching for, marking, and helping handle explosive materials that have not detonated. These objects can include bombs, artillery shells, grenades, rockets, or fragments left behind after military training. Their work is not like the intense bomb defusing scenes we see in action movies. Most of the time, they work out in the field, on land that used to be military bases, weapons testing areas, or old firing ranges. They use specialized survey equipment to detect unusual signs beneath the ground. Then, the dangerous area is marked, secured, and handed over to an authorized team to handle according to safety procedures. In other words, they are the ones who go in first so that others can enter that land without facing an invisible threat. There is one question many people may wonder about: why does a country like the United States still need this job? The answer lies in hundreds of years of military history. Across America, there have been many military bases, firing ranges, training areas, and weapons testing sites. Some of these places were later closed, repurposed, or returned to local communities. But when the military fences disappear, it does not mean every danger underground disappears with them. Bombs, artillery shells, or explosive materials can be buried, rust away, and remain hidden for decades. The problem is that these old pieces of land are sometimes used to build homes, roads, parks, or new development projects. Without careful surveying, a construction worker or an ordinary resident could accidentally dig into something dangerous. That is why America still needs UXO technicians to find these leftover hazards before it is too late. Their work is like clearing away the danger that history left behind. A workday for a UXO technician often begins very early, before the sun heats up the entire site. They may show up in the desert, in a forest, on a beach, or on land that was once a military firing range. Before entering the site, the entire team reviews the maps, the site boundaries, and the safety plan for the day. Everyone wears protective gear, carries communication equipment, and only moves within the area they have been assigned. Their work is not loud, but every step carries tension. They move slowly through each survey line, watching the ground and using specialized equipment to detect unusual signs below the surface. When they find a suspicious location, they do not rush to touch it or dig it up. Instead, the area is marked, its coordinates are recorded, and the information is reported to the team responsible for handling it under safety procedures. On some days, what they find is only an old piece of metal or harmless scrap. But on other days, one small signal on the equipment can make the entire team stop immediately. The most frightening part is that no one knows for sure how long the object underground has been lying there. It could be a few years, several decades, or something left behind from a military training exercise that has been forgotten. That is why, in this job, patience is not just a skill. Sometimes, it is the line between safety and disaster. The real danger of this job does not always come from massive explosions like in the movies. It comes from things that are silent, old, and buried beneath the ground. An explosive item can sit there for decades without anyone knowing it still exists. On the outside, it may look like nothing more than a rusty piece of metal or ordinary scrap. But inside, it may still carry a deadly risk if it is disturbed the wrong way. That is why UXO technicians are never allowed to become careless. They must keep their distance, follow procedures, and treat every suspicious object as a real threat. Sometimes, the scariest thing is not what they can see. It is what they have not seen yet, lying just beneath the thin layer of soil in front of them. In this job, staying calm does not just help them work better. It helps them survive. So how much does a dangerous job like this pay? The answer is, not low, but it is not always a get-rich-quick job like many people might imagine. In the United States, the occupational group related to explosive materials handling, ordnance experts, and blasters has a median wage of around $61,390 per year. By the hour, that comes out to about $29.51 an hour. But for UXO technicians, actual pay can vary widely. People who are new to the field usually earn less than those with experience, certifications, and a background in military environments. Projects in remote areas, dangerous locations, or defense contracts may pay more. But in return, they have to work under intense pressure, in harsh weather, and while constantly facing invisible risks. So the pay for this job is not just paying for physical labor. It is also paying for calmness, discipline, and the ability to keep an entire team alive. Not every brave person can become a UXO technician. This job does not require recklessness. It requires discipline, focus, and the ability to follow procedures almost perfectly. A person working in UXO must know how to control fear, but they must never lose their sense of caution. Just one careless moment can put the entire team in danger. That is why they must receive proper training before entering the field. Many people in this profession have military, technical, or high-risk work experience. They also have to endure harsh weather, difficult terrain, and long hours of stressful work. But the most important thing is not muscle. It is a cool head. Because in this profession, the most dangerous person is not the one who feels afraid. It is the one who believes they will never make a mistake. But behind the danger, this work also carries a deeply human meaning. They are not just searching for unexploded ordnance to complete a contract. They are helping turn land once considered dangerous back into places where people can live. A site that used to be an old firing range can become a park. An area that was sealed off for years can become a neighborhood, a road, or a school. To ordinary people, it may look like just an empty piece of land. But to UXO technicians, it is a place where the past may still have left behind a threat. Every sign they detect, every area they help mark as safe, could protect a family in the future. Maybe no one knows their names. Maybe no one sees them working. But because of them, places that were once forgotten can be returned to the community. They are not just dealing with unexploded ordnance. They are clearing the way for life to continue. In the end, this job is not just about finding explosive materials buried underground. It is a quiet confrontation between human beings and what the past has left behind. Some bombs have been lying beneath the ground longer than many of the people living nearby have been alive. They no longer belong to war, but they can still take lives in peacetime. And that is why UXO technicians still have to step into places that others are told to stay away from. They work in silence, under the sun, in the wind, in the dust, and among warning signs. There is no applause. There is no spotlight, only absolute focus and a very heavy responsibility. Because sometimes, for a community to live safely, someone has to step into danger first. Some jobs exist to build the future. But there are also jobs that exist so the past does not kill the present. And workers who deal with leftover unexploded ordnance are among them. If you want to see more strange and dangerous real jobs in America, follow the channel so you do not miss the next video.